Hi everybody, it's Zooty. And happy Osu 10-year anniversary to me. And it's almost 2 years too late. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Is she deadass about to make a draw my life in 2025? Well, actually I am. I wasn't really sure how I was gonna make this video, hence why it took so long. But a lot of people suggested that I would do a draw my lifestyle video, and I thought it was a pretty cute idea. I also felt like it was a good time to make this because I've definitely been reflecting more on my life and my career, myself, and my hopes in the future. So thanks for being here. Let's get into it. So like a lot of people, I grew up with video games. One of my earliest memories was seeing the game The Ooze on my dad's Xbox, which was both horrifying and fascinating at the same time. I also had a lot of cousins who played a lot of games, so I grew up with them and a lot of Sonic, Halo, Call of Duty, Smash, all this kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. So basically, gaming has been there for my whole life. But if I'm gonna start talking about my Osu career, I'm gonna start here. So when I was in elementary school, people would, bring their Game Boys and DSs to sneakily play games during lunch and recess. So I saw a couple of kids hidden away near the gym playing something. I walked up to them and lo and behold, they were playing the original Osu Tatake Wenden, which I thought was so interesting. It's like one of the most vivid core memories of my life. So fast forward to high school, I saw someone playing a similar game in the school library, and it felt like a crazy flashback all the way back to the 4th grade. Eventually, I saw them go to the home screen, and in big bold letters was Osu. So that's when my life started to go downhill. No, I'm just kidding. From what I remember, after that I basically just went home to download the game, and I was pretty much hooked right away. Only a couple months after I started playing, I reached my all-time high play count of 4,471. Which is not a lot to the rest of you, I know, but a lot for me. I think I was just looking up random Vocaloid songs and playing them, and I did make a couple of friends while playing in some multi-lobbies, some that I still talk to this day. And I was really grateful for my new Osu friends, because it was also around the time when my parents' divorce was getting really rocky. It was a classic case of, playing games at full volume while your parents yell at each other in the living room. And honestly, Osu really was all I fully dedicated myself to for a long while. I eventually got into other games as well, like Smite and Arcade, so my monthly play count ended up dropping, but I would always still get back on to play Osu every so often. At some point in high school, I had broken up with my then boyfriend because, he was an ass and only played League all day, but more so because one day he compared my Osu skill to a mutual friend of ours, so I literally dumped his ass shortly after that and got on the grind. You can see on my play graph exactly when that happened. Although it was kind of a sad thing because the high play count was always pretty much a coping mechanism, just like it was before. And this time I didn't really feel like I had close friends, really. My relationship was over then, and this was also around the time when my dad ended up moving out of home. But when I say I got on the grind, I'm really not exaggerating. Yeah, I would wake up at 4 to 5 a.m. every day to play Osu before school, and then play when I got back home from school as well. I was literally going up to easily 6 hours a day when I chose to play. And really, I don't remember much outside those couple of months playing. I think I was just really stressed out or alone or disassociating and just kind of drifting by. The only thing that I really had was my fun little game that I was getting pretty good at. Then the cheating accusations started rolling in. I was confused. I minded my own business, and I put a lot of hours in on the game. I played almost every day then. But people were suspicious since I came out of nowhere, and I didn't really have any presence anywhere. I never even watched any YouTube or Twitch content, I wasn't in any Discords. I don't even think I had a Discord account then. It was really just me and my game. And cheating accusations have happened to many Osu players now, of course, but back then I feel like suspicion was super powerful. At least when it came to actually getting someone banned. But I promise I have never ever cheated any of my scores on Osu. Besides, if I was cheating, I probably wouldn't be playing full area. Like, that's a lot of effort. So when I got banned, I really thought my account was stolen, genuinely. When I tried to figure out what was wrong, I was gaslit by the staff so horribly, and even my only couple of friends in the community started to lose trust in me because of this. Unlike a normal restriction, I was sort of locked out of my account, so if I tried to put in my credentials or anything, it just would not let me log in. So after some back and forth with OSU support, they just called me a little dirty cheater, so I went on to completely quit the game. I played Mania here and there, but there was basically no more OSU after that, at all. After I graduated high school, I started getting really suffocated at home alone with my mom, so one day I spontaneously got a job at Toys R Us, which was great. As great as Toys R Us can be. Over a year later, basically, after fighting with OSU support for months and months, I did finally get an email that I was unbanned. I remember it exactly. My mom was in the room, annoying me, my jaw dropping, my heart stopped. I was finally back and able to play the game I loved. And ever since then, my play count has been pretty regular, since I decided to stream every single session of my OSU gameplay, so no one ever doubted my legitimacy ever again. Which even now, I don't think I've ever had a session off stream besides practicing for tournaments or for scrims. But unfortunately, after my unban, people were still suspicious. I was cast aside as just another return cheater, even though there was no proof, and even though my scores were still getting better and better. I remember having a report thread made on me after my sudden life play. I went to work very sad and disgruntled that day. And even my manager asked if I was okay. Love you, Sean. There ended up being a group of people who were actually really against me at the time. They hate-rated my streams and my Discord server, always calling me out on Reddit or Twitter, and somehow even got support to publicly shame me on Twitter over something that I never did. Honestly, I don't even know how I kept playing through all that, or even how I kept fighting against OSU support for my account. Looking back, I was exceptionally tough. I'd say I started hate grinding my way to the top after that, which, as you know, eventually worked, but I feel like any heartbroken teen would have turned around and quit then, and I'm really glad I didn't. So, work at Toys R Us was going okay. Streaming was fun when I did it, but I decided to go to school and start studying art and animation. I let go of my Toys R Us job to focus on school more, so it was just that and streaming for a while. My school was only a year and a half, so when it's about to end and the job hunt was starting, I just decided to stream a lot more to fill in the time until I actually landed a job. And wow, it turned out that was the perfect time to start doing that. I had a lot of need for redemption built up in me around this time. Keeping up my solo skills was top priority, obviously, but I really wanted to test my skill in a real tournament setting. So the winter of that year was OWC 2020. I previously didn't make the team in 2019, but this year I went all out, okay? I was approaching the peak of my skill, and it really showed during that tournament run. Every week, I wanted to do something that would get people talking. Whether it was FCing every map on my debut week, overmodding every free mod to get my team extra score to win, or just being the crazy full area girl on Team Canada. And it worked! More people started to show up to my streams, and I started to post some of my scores on YouTube too. Then, one of my best seasons as a player came during summer of 2021. Euphoria, Union, Because Maybe's out the ass. A lot of mega iconic scores came out of this year. Everything was really going great when it came to streaming, and I ended up loving the tournament scene too. In OWC 2020, we actually did get top 3 on Team Canada, and I was dubbed Most Improved Player of OWC 2021, which was a huge honor. In 2022, my team won one of the most prestigious high-stakes tournaments, Corsace Open. There was also Corsace Closed at that time, where I had one of my best tournament runs of all time, beating players like Matthew, Arnold, Reedcat, Taquito, and ultimately getting second in what was one of the biggest 1v1 tournaments of the year. Even after all that trouble of being banned, OSU is now becoming even more rewarding than ever. So much so that I even ended up quitting the freelance art job I had to pursue streaming full-time. Oh, So the freelance job I had at the end of 2021 had to do with 3D modeling and texturing, but even while I worked, I continued to stream as much as I could. But honestly, the work was fun. I learned a lot, and I got to work on some pretty cool projects like the Lux Empyrean skin. Just the staff though. But the freelancing was kind of making small money, and eventually my streaming was starting to make a little bigger money. So much that I started to contemplate quitting my freelancing job and going head on with content creation. So for 2 weeks straight, I literally thought about nothing but should I quit my job and keep streaming, or do I try to balance both but not have time to improve either? I thought about it so much that I felt like I was at the point where I had to take a leap and decided that I should see where this next opportunity was going to take me. 2022, 2023, and 2024, they were really all great years for Osu, but maybe not so much of my personal life. I ended up moving away from my mom kind of suddenly, and I've moved another 4 times since then. I worried a lot about money, and I've had some pretty poor housing situations. And sometimes, honestly, it just became hard to focus on just playing Osu for fun instead of treating it like a job, even though it is my job now. However, there's just been so many things that have happened because of Osu that has allowed me to grow in my regular life. Like, I used to be scared of traveling and planes, and I beat my fears and flew alone for the first time ever, actually just recently. And usually I'm pretty shy and introverted, but I attend all the conventions I can and try to connect with new people and other content creators. And I even got to play in a couple LAN tournaments like the Round Table. There I got to meet some of the coolest people ever. Like, seeing BTMC work on production and host his own event, seeing people like Bubbleman, Rafis, Fancy Lad, along with so many other iconic Osu figures. And meeting Malashevsky and even his wonderful mom, which I will always treasure. Osu is still so fun to me, especially streaming it. But after 10 years, I think a lot changes. I guess in any field, a lot would change. Tournaments don't feel as rewarding or have the same prestige they used to for some reason. The game meta keeps changing to things I'm not really good at. Yet, Osu's still so deep-rooted in my heart that I'm probably gonna always keep coming back. Osu, streaming, and the community have been there for almost half my life now, and I'm really grateful for everyone that has ever stopped by my streams, ever watched a YouTube video, or even just those who know me by name. You all really helped make my life better in general, and I feel much happier than I did before. Even though I don't play Osu like a 9 to 5 anymore, I don't think I'm ever gonna truly quit. But now I find myself working harder to become more than just an Osu top player. I still think I'm improving actually, and I do look forward to future tournaments. But now I'm finding a better balance as a content creator and a competitive player, I think. I've really been enjoying just building a community and chatting with you guys and playing different variety games as well. Honestly, after starting to stream full-time, I realized that a dip in my Osu skill started to feel like my work in general is becoming poorer, or not worth watching. Osu and making content can be all about numbers sometimes, so it took a long while for me to step back and appreciate my achievements and how far I've come, and work harder on becoming a better entertainer in general. And now, 2025 has only just started, and like I said, I do feel like I'm finally getting the hang of things as a content creator. I see more clearly now than ever that if I continue to nurture this opportunity and this community, it'll not only turn into a lifelong career, but it'll also help me find more peace and comfort in my life. Even though I can't predict the future or anything, I can, see myself being here for a very long time. Besides, I think there's probably no better happiness than having a space where others can be happy as well. And I really could not do any of this without you guys. Especially when I think back to when baby Zooty started streaming, I think she would be really proud to see me now, and all of us today. I'm someone who really believes that if there's a dream you want or an opportunity you have that you want to make work, you can always do it with enough heart. So, let's all continue to work hard and make this community as great as it can be. I think no matter what, looking back, it's always going to be crazy to me when I remember that getting accusated on Osu led me to becoming a full-time streamer. And even with a rough start to my Osu career, I'm happy I can look back with fondness, knowing that the game changed my life in so many ways. And I ain't ever leaving Osu. But now, I'm also finding new things to love just as much. So happy 10-year anniversary.